The moon hung low over the secluded villa, casting elongated shadows across the ornate gardens where lanterns flickered like restless spirits. Victoria Forbes adjusted her vintage masquerade mask, the delicate lace tickling her cheeks. She glanced around at the arriving guests, each more illustrious than the last. Celebrities, politicians, tycoons, all lured by the allure of the mysterious invitation that promised an unforgettable night. The air was thick with anticipation, and yet an unnameable dread coiled in the pit of Victoria's stomach. As a renowned journalist, her instincts were seldom wrong. She stepped into the grand ballroom, its gilded ceilings and opulent chandeliers both magnificent and suffocating, and couldn't shake the feeling that beneath the glamour lay something sinister. Among the sea of disguised faces, Victoria spotted Marcus Hale, a reclusive artist known for his macabre paintings. His skeletal costume was disturbingly realistic, and his eyes held a haunted look that made her shiver. She also noticed Evelyn Sinclair, a philanthropist whose smile never reached her eyes, fiddling nervously with a ruby-encrusted necklace. Across the room stood Damien Cross, a powerful businessman with a predatory gaze, dressed as a wolf. Each guest carried their own shadows, their secrets masked as effectively as their faces. Victoria felt a kinship with them, sensing that everyone here was dancing on the edge of a revelation or a breakdown. As the night unfolded, the villa seemed to breathe around them. The music took on a dissonant tone, and the laughter grew strained. Suddenly, the lights flickered, plunging the ballroom into brief darkness. When they returned, a chilling sight greeted the guests. A crimson smile painted on one of the ornate mirrors, dripping slowly onto the polished floor. Whispers rippled through the crowd. "Is this part of the entertainment?" someone asked nervously. But Victoria knew better. Her pulse quickened as she recalled rumors of a killer who left such marks, a clown who turned parties into nightmares. She scanned the room, her eyes locking onto a figure in a jester's costume, the mask's grin too wide, too fixed. Panic began to seep in as one of the guests, a judge dressed as a king, was found missing. His crown lay abandoned near the terrace doors, smeared with blood. The doors swung open to the night, revealing footprints leading into the darkened maze of the gardens. Evelyn clutched Victoria's arm, her facade of poise crumbling. "We need to leave," she whispered, her eyes darting toward every shadow. But the villa's gates had been locked, the security systems disabled. The phones had no signal. It was as if they were trapped in a gilded cage with a predator lurking among them. The guests huddled together, paranoia gnawing at their sanity. Accusations flew like poisoned darts. "It's him!" Marcus pointed at Damien. "You have the most to gain from our deaths," Damien snarled. "Ridiculous! If anyone's deranged enough, it's you, with your obsession with death." Victoria stepped between them. "Stop it. This is what the killer wants, to turn us against each other." She took a steadying breath. "We need to unmask everyone. If the killer is hiding among us, we can't let them stay concealed." Reluctantly, the guests began removing their masks, revealing pale faces slick with sweat. But the jester was nowhere to be seen. A blood-curdling scream echoed from the upper balcony. They raced upstairs to find another guest, a famous actress, clutching her throat, her lifeless eyes staring into oblivion. Beside her, a balloon floated upward, a chilling message scrawled upon it. "Laugh, and the world laughs with you." The final part of the phrase was ominously absent. Despair settled over the group. Fear fractured into hopelessness. Evelyn sunk to the floor, sobbing. "We're next. We're all going to die here." Marcus knelt beside her, his earlier hostility replaced with weary compassion. "No, we can't give up. There has to be a way out." Victoria's mind raced. The killer was toying with them, feeding off their terror. Then it struck her. The invitations. Each one was personalized, tempting them with secrets only the sender could know. She remembered the odd phrasing in hers. An event to unmask your true self. This wasn't just a random attack. It was orchestrated, with them as players in a twisted game. The killer knows us, she said aloud. Our secrets, our sins, that's the key. She turned to the remaining guests. What if we're here because of something we've done? Something that connects us? Silence fell as each person retreated into their memories. Damien's eyes widened. The accident. 5 years ago, the charity gala fire. Evelyn gasped. I thought it was just a tragic event. Marcus's face paled. No, it was covered up. We all had a hand in it, directly or indirectly. Realization dawned on Victoria. The clown wasn't just a murderer, he was an avenger. Someone must have lost loved ones in that fire, she whispered. Someone who blames us. A slow clap echoed through the hallway. The jester emerged, his mask now lifted to reveal a face twisted with pain and rage. It was the villa's reclusive owner, Gabriel Thorne. Once a wealthy heir, he'd vanished from society after the death of his family in the gala fire. Bravo, he sneered. Took you long enough to remember the lives you shattered. Gabriel advanced toward them, brandishing a gleaming blade. You danced, you laughed, while my world burned. Desperation fueled Victoria's courage. Gabriel, we're sorry. We can't undo the past, but this isn't the way. His eyes flickered with torment. Sorry. Your apologies are ashes. As he moved to strike, Marcus lunged forward to protect Victoria, grappling with Gabriel. The struggle was fierce, but ultimately, Gabriel plunged the blade into Marcus's chest. Evelyn screamed as Marcus collapsed. In that moment, the distant wail of sirens pierced the air. Unbeknownst to them, Victoria had managed to trigger a silent alarm earlier. Gabriel's plan was unraveling. Cornered, he gave a hollow laugh. Looks like the final act is upon us. With a sudden movement, Gabriel fled toward the balcony. Victoria chased after him, her heart pounding. Gabriel, wait. He paused at the edge, the abyss yawning below. They'll lock me away, he said quietly, but they'll never silence the truth. Before she could reach him, he stepped backward, disappearing into the darkness. She peered over the ledge, but the shadows concealed his fate. The authorities arrived, ushering the survivors to safety. Weeks later, Victoria stood at Marcus's grave, guilt and sorrow weighing heavy on her. The events at the villa had been deemed a tragic incident caused by a madman, but she knew there was more to it, a reckoning for past sins. As she turned to leave, a gust of wind carried the faint sound of distant laughter. She looked back at the cemetery, the shadows between the tombstones shifting. For a moment, she thought she saw a figure in a jester's mask watching her. Then it was gone. Haunted by the memories, Victoria vowed to uncover the full truth of the gala fire and bring genuine closure to the lives torn apart by their actions. The nightmare at the villa had ended, but the echoes of that laughter would follow her forever, a chilling reminder that some ghosts never fade, and that the masks we wear can become the very things that consume us.